Alright, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Legacy United Star Raider Cannonball. Another one from the Walmart exclusive Star Raiders capsule that I've been pretty excited about. And yeah, this is a recreation of a Transformers Cybertron toy who I don't believe ever showed up in the show. I think he was a toy-only character. But again, this is another character that does have some precedent of being a pirate character, because I believe he was like sold in a, like repackaged in a 2-pack in the Universe toy line, where like the theme of it was like a pirate encounter or something to that effect. I don't totally remember. Yeah, no, he's a pretty good recreation of this general idea here. The original toy was a repaint basically of Cybertron Red Alert, so I'm sure that at some point we will get this mold done in Cybertron Red Alert colors, but Cannonball is really the one that I want. If I got a new version of that Red Alert, I'd really want a new version of the Armada version of Red Alert personally, but yeah, no, pretty cool figure here. Now he is a third reshell of the Skids mold from Legacy, so there's quite a few extensive updates to it, but still it's basically that design skeleton. And instead of coming with all the same stuff that Skids and like Crankcase came with, he comes with his own accessories here. One, he comes with his little sort of like light bar and minicon, or not minicon, and planet key port up here, which obviously, you know, he's got the stuff on the roof. You're pretty much just supposed to peg this on and leave it there, and it kind of stays locked in like that, and that looks pretty good. And he's got the little, you know, fake top of the head detailing up here, because, you know, if you're unfamiliar with the original toy, basically the head just kind of compressed in by the light bar there. He also comes with a cyber planet key, which is really cool to see. A nice little Earth key. It's pretty small compared to the original ones, but it's still a neat little accessory there. And if you want to store that, you can just plug it into the cyber planet key port here and just have it like that, and that looks okay. And then he comes with these two little weapons here, which is part of the gimmick that the, you know, original Cybertron Red Alert and Cannonball had, where they had some like modular pieces for their arm. Now these can store, but they pretty much store inside the legs in robot mode, so you know, you kind of have to just like leave them there in robot mode and then transform him. Yeah, it's kind of a pain to get them to where they need to be from this mode, but you'd have no reason really to kind of take them out, so we can just peg them on the back here for now, which honestly, you know, is not like the worst thing in the world, but they can internally store. It's just not, you know, really accessible from this mode here. But yeah, in terms of his functionality, he obviously rolls around pretty nicely. He does have the same thing with Skids, where like half the wheel is fake here, and it's really only the you know, top half of the wheel it's actually spinning for the front wheels. But otherwise looks pretty good there. I like the new skull detailing there, which is not entirely accurate to how the old one was, but you know, it keeps the same vibe more or less. But yeah, in terms of comparisons in this mode, just for the standard one, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe, so you can see what the two of them look like together. For another updated Cybertron character, here he is with Velocitron Override. I know we've had more recent ones than this, but this is the most recent one that I actually own, so you can see what the two of them look like together. And then real quick, we can show off his planet key with an original planet key as well, just so you can see the size difference there. And I wanted to see if, like, because she has like the slot back here that kind of fits a you know, an original planet key, and yeah, unfortunately, like you can plug this in there and it uses like this little bit and it kind of fits in there, but it's not as tight of a fit as this one is. But you know, it still does kind of fit in there in a sense. It's just plugging it a little bit further than, you know, the old planet keys did, but I feel like that still kind of works. And then here he is with the other two uses of this mold with Skids and Crankcase. I mean, we also had Medics, but you know, he's mostly the same mold as Crankcase, just so you can see how different these guys all are, even though they're all using basically the same design skeleton. There's not a lot that's the same. I think these back panels here on the sum are all the same on all three of them. I'm pretty sure the wheels are the same on all three of them, and that's pretty much it in this mode. I think that his door panels are the same ones that came on Crankcase, but not obviously the same as Skid, since his doors open up in a different way. But yeah, a pretty decent reshell of this figure yet again. But yeah, and then last but not least, here he is with Thundertron, just so you can see how he looks with the main, you know, pirate boss there. And then to get onto transformation, again, you know, it's pretty similar to Skids and Crankcase, just with a couple little differences here and there. But you basically want to start by folding up the door panels like this. So it'll just sit up like that. Take the entire back section and rotate it up like that. And you can take these panels and just fold them up onto the top of the legs there. Fold in the wheels to the underside of the feet. Take the arms here, they will untab from the side, and then these shoulder sections will untab from the hood or from the front of the car here, and then rotate up like that, and then rotate forward, and you can just rotate the forearms there at the bicep swivel, so they sit forward. Then you want to untab this whole section from the back, double hinge this whole section down and then down like that so that the hips are facing forward, and you can split the legs there. And then you want to just take this section and it will clip into place, and then take these. You kind of want to push his little like shoulder cannons there that are a holdover from Crankcase. You kind of want to push those up, and then you can double hinge this section so that this kind of sits on the back like that. And there we have Cannonball in his robot mode. And yeah, this looks really good. Something like I didn't even consciously realize about the original Cannonball is that he had a cheated chest there where he had like the front of the car detailing like on his chest, even though the front of the car became his like feet. And this one actually, you know, puts that in the right place, which is kind of cool to see. But yeah, other than that, you know, he's got a lot of stuff that moves around a little bit differently than the original, like Cybertron Red Alert mold and Cannonball. But, you know, I think it still works for him, all things considered. I love the new head sculpt. It's very accurate to that kind of Red Alert style. And he's got the nice, you know, black on the one side to match Cannonball's aesthetic. He does have a little bit of like newly added cheating here, where he's got like these fake tiny doors on his shoulders now, which, you know, is a detail that I can kind of ignore, but it's a little bit silly because obviously those are not where the doors end up, since the doors are on his back and are much bigger than that. But, you know, it's nice to have that detail for people that want it. In terms of articulation, obviously he's pretty similar to the Skids mold. He's got a ball jointed head, which can rotate around, obviously bringing that panel on the back with it. His shoulders can rotate around like that, and they can hinge out to the side a little bit there on this joint, again, which is a little bit in between. Like Crankcase couldn't do this at all, and Skids had his be able to like flip all the way up, so he's kind of in between there. And then if you want to bring it any further, you can use that transformation joint to bring it up like at that hinge there. And then obviously this can rotate forward. His chest generally plugs in place better than Crankcase, for example, but I feel like since the arm joints are so stiff, sometimes it does just want to unclip it, unfortunately. So you do kind of have to hold it in place, but it's not the end of the world. But yeah, his arms can rotate around that way as well. He's got a bicep swivel. He's got a about 90-degree bend at the elbow. He does have a wrist swivel on both wrists, although, you know, this one has the whole gimmick to it, so it doesn't really effectively do anything when you rotate it. He's got a waist cut. Hips can go forward and back and out to the side about that far. He's got a thigh swivel, a little over 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and then the ankles can only tilt inward. So, you know, pretty decent articulation, especially for such a boxy design here. Now, yeah, so this arm, the fun thing that you can do with this figure is if you bring on his little accessories here, basically you can just treat this as like a little, you know, like Shockwave-esque kind of laser arm there. But you can also take this little claw weapon and then peg it on like that to have him have like a claw hand there, which again is reminiscent of what the original toy did as well. And then this hammer accessory, which doesn't actually peg on there, but it pegs on the other side so that you can, and this one's like a little bit tighter for whatever reason. I find that you have to fight it a little bit more. So he's got like a hammer arm there, which is also pretty cool. I don't know why this is not staying in place. Usually it's a little bit better than this. But yeah, no, I think that's a pretty cool functionality and a nice recreation of what the original toy did as well. And then in terms of storage for these, again, similar to how the original toy worked, but not exactly the same. You can store these in the leg, just like in these cavities here. So you can basically take this piece and it will just kind of slide in there like that. and you can take this one with the peg up and slide it in there like that, and boom, perfect storage. And you can keep both of those there for transformation. It doesn't get in the way of anything at all. So it's got storage for vehicle mode as well, and I really appreciate that. But yeah, in terms of comparisons in this mode, here he is again with Sideswipe, just so you can see what he looks like with an average size deluxe there. Sorry about that. My phone died when I was transforming everything, so not as seamless a cut as I usually have. But yeah, pretty much average size deluxe there. Here he is again with Override, just so you can see what he looks like with another updated Transformers Cybertron character. I said that she was the most recent one that I got. I guess technically that would be Metroplex, but like I'm not bringing on the Titan class figure to show them off together. But yeah, that's how they look. Here he is again with Skids and Crankcase, just so you can see how different the versions of the mold are. I'd say he's a little bit more similar to Crankcase than he is Skids, just with the doors folding onto the back, and he's got the same, you know, like little guns there that Crankcase had. But otherwise, you know, you can kind of see what's the same about them. I think all three of them have pretty much the same like upper leg section, the same for these panels, the same feet, the same wheels. It's just the main, you know, shell back of the car here that's a little bit different. Obviously, they have different hood sections. He's got the new reworked shoulders so that he's got like the door panels on them. So again, you know, Skids can kind of go all the way up. His can kind of go out to the side there, and his can only use those joints. So they all work slightly differently, but, you know, you still largely get the same effect. Skids has the best shoulders. He's got the second best shoulders, and he's got the worst shoulders, but, you know, none of them are too terrible. But yeah, and then here he is for a last comparison with Thundertron again, just so you can see what he looks like with the kind of main figure in this capsule from Walmart. And yeah, you know, I feel like they look pretty cool together. Again, you know, Cannonball is a character that I feel like it makes sense to have in this this sort of like, you know, subsect of Legacy United, because he does have precedent being like a pirate character. So he is a cool one to see in here. But yeah, you know, pretty cool set overall. Pretty cool figure overall. They're not a set. They don't come together. Pretty cool figure overall. I do like him a lot. I love that they, you know, decided to go the extra mile and have him have the like accessories like the old figure used to. I love that it stores internally. And then yeah, you know, I guess the only problem that I have, and I should have mentioned this more in vehicle mode, is that the door panels tabbing into vehicle mode like don't totally feel like they want to tab into place fully on my copy, but it's not too noticeable. Like honestly, I forget about it. You know, it's like just like you can feel that they don't tab into place, but it doesn't look too visually bad, so it's not really the end of the world. But yeah, no, fun figure overall. And yeah, they'll probably do a repaint of this guy into a Cybertron Red Alert, which I probably won't pick up if they're doing like a decent like Armada version of him, which according to the leak listings we probably are getting next year, so we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to him. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, here we have Transformers Legacy United Star Raider Cannonball.